Today, I want to talk about this guy, but not just this guy. There's something I see over and over and over and over again with these mass shooting stories. And media outlets are so god awful at actually chasing down these leads. You see, one of the things that's most horrific about a mass shooting story, besides the fact that it's just terrible, is that the family of the shooter is just as surprised as we are to learn about this. Oh, there were no warning signs. He never showed any indications that he might be violent. We never heard any threats. There was nothing indicative to a person that was about to engage in violent activities. There was nothing we could do to stop this. For instance, let's go to Paul Cremo. He is the suspect's uncle, the suspect that shot up the 4th of July parade in Highland Park. And here's what he said.
What information did you have leading up to this morning at the parade? Did you know that he had a weapon and that he was going to?
I have no idea. I have no clue at all.
Ever any indication?
There's no indication at all. No. There's no indication that I've seen at all that would lead up to this at all. Yeah.
No indication, nothing, no warning signs at all. Let's take a look at this. This is one of the most interesting pieces of information that's come out so far about this Highland Park shooter. Let's take a look at the outside of his house. He lives there with his parents and that uncle. They all live there, and so they all know very much about what's going on. Watch this.
Yeah, very, very strange. We heard from people in the neighborhood that there was possibly that painting. We were able to get up on the balcony and see it. What's interesting is there was something also written on the side of the house, very, very large, that was painted over. But what's sort of disturbing about that painting with the...
Look at that. This is what was painted on the side of the shooter's house. And the uncle, there was nothing. There was no warnings. Nothing they could have picked up on. Like this, perhaps. Like a smiley-faced man, a Banksy ripoff with a gun painted on the side of your house. As for what was right here, I'm going to show you in just a second because I don't think the folks at News Nation actually knew. As you can see, the person that he drew on this wall, being maybe a Banksy ripoff, also is the smiley face that he's wearing on a shirt in one of his music videos where he's in a school acting out a school shooting. I mean, there were just a couple of clues here. He painted this on the wall of their house. As a parent, would you not start to get a little bit suspicious if your child was painting that? I would hope so. I would hope that would be the case. Here's another photo of that drawing. And you can see right in the corner here what was painted over, at least one of the things that was painted over, and that's a D. It's a D that was painted on the wall from God's Not Dead, another video that he did. Perhaps he added to that, and that's why they covered it up. We won't know now until we see some other photos from this. But are there any other pieces of information, maybe some clues that these family members would know? Let's see.
The first was in April of 2019. An individual contacted Highland Park Police Department a week after learning of Mr. Cremo attempting suicide. This was a delayed report, so Highland Park still responded to the residents a week later, spoke with Cremo, spoke with Cremo's parents, and the matter was being handled by mental health professionals at that time. There was no law enforcement action to be taken. It was a mental health issue handled by those professionals. The second occurred in September of 2019. A family member reported that Cremo said he was going to kill everyone, and Cremo had a collection of knives. The police responded to his residence. The police removed 16 knives, a dagger, and a sword from Cremo's home. At that time, there was no probable cause to arrest. There were no complaints that were signed by any of the victims.
So we now know that he threatened to kill everybody, that he had a whole bunch of knives, 16 knives, a dagger, and a sword. We know that they were worried about him being violent either to others or himself. We know that he had just bought 5 firearms, at least 2 rifles, pistols, and possibly a shotgun, according to police. But if you are in these cases to believe the family members, like, back to him, Paul Cremo, and many other people who end up in this situation, they just couldn't have possibly seen it coming. Do you buy that in these stories, that they're just as surprised as the rest of us? Or do you think maybe they're trying to cover up for not approaching the police more times and trying to stop what was the inevitable outcome of somebody in this position. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Facebook.com/thenewsjunkie. Hit that follow button. YouTube.com/thenewsjunkie. Hit subscribe. Thanks for watching as always, and we'll talk to you again real soon.